Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is the connector in court, law without borders. We are with us Jamshed Mistry, founder, International Legal Alliance. With a career spanning nearly 3 decades, Jamshed's legal prowess spans international law, media and entertainment, medico legal, public interest causes, and everything in between. His influence isn't limited in the courtroom. He serves on advisory boards of global film festivals, educational institutions, NGOs, and international chambers of commerce. From law to fashion, diplomacy to disability rights, his journey proves that advocacy isn't confined to the legal code. It's a lifelong commitment to community and connection. So welcome Jamshed today's coffee conversation. So much things are there. I want to know what to cover. I'm getting the goosebumps, but butterflies in the stomach. So welcome to today's coffee conversation. So let me explain you. There are 3 rounds: professional, personal, and a surprise rapid fire where you will be in the hot seat, like you are in the coffee with Karan. And here's a gift because now everyone is talking about AI, and it will be autograph sent to you. So it's later photograph. Later. So okay, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation and legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal, startup SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So friends, we are at AWFS co-working space, Saturday evening, and this will be a lot interesting conversation with a senior person. So my first question, Jamshed, how was the journey shaped up and what are the key defining moments you had?
Well, let me start by telling you that I became a lawyer by mistake. I was actually studying after my bachelor's in commerce, and I was studying for my cost accountancy, and I think I would have become a cost accountant. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away, and I had met her chartered accountant, and he was the one who looked at me and he said, what are you doing? And I said, after sort of along with cost accountancy, I was planning to study for CS. I had actually gone and even got the papers from the institute. And he said, why don't you consider law? And I just looked at him and I said, what is involved in law? So he said one word. He said English. I said, okay, my English hasn't been bad since school.
Can't be for a Parsi.
And that's how, that was the only very honestly, I had absolutely no clue. We had studied business law in commerce, and that was my only brush with law till then. And he actually told me, he said, why don't you go back to to the college that you had gone to. So, and he said next to it is a law college. So I actually went there, and I decided. I asked them. The term had even started, and they were kind enough. They first, they took me in without a problem, and then I met this other friend who is now a very senior criminal lawyer. And I met him, and he says, where do you study? Where are you studying? I said, I'm taking up your profession. So he said, you know what? There's another college. It's called the Government Law College. He said, you need to go there. I said, listen. I said, this is not some free for all where you can keep hopping from college to college. But I took his word. I went to the Government Law College. I went to the registrar. I met him. I said, I'm interested. And he said, all right. And, suddenly the doors opened, and I was a student of Government Law College. So that's how it started in 92, 93, I think. Yes.
Wow, beautiful. So let's dive deep in conversation one by one. I'll take it up. So let's take up the interesting film and fashion industry. With your advisory roles in the film and fashion industry, how do you approach legal conflicts that blend IP, creativity, and contracts?
Well, that's a very, very interesting question. I think, especially in today's day and age, with the media and entertainment industry really growing and having a global influence, I think what is important is, you see, when I started, studying law, there was nothing. I mean, we had to go to the U.S. library and sit down there and sort of get our information from there. It was the non-computer days, and we had to. There were no books. Interestingly, all the books that were authored were from outside of India. But I was always very interested in the law, and especially in the media and entertainment side. So what I did was, I actually used to go, like, for example, international rock concerts used to come to India. I would go backstage and ask them for the contract, and in those days they actually gave it to you. You'll be surprised. I had the contract of Michael Jackson, Brian Adams, and things like that, and they happily sort of they parted it with it. There was no question of confidentiality and things like that. So I made it my mission to actually go out to study and ensure and get and sort of educate myself first, and that's how it's kind of gone on. The interesting part is today, with IPR, with creativity, there has been, if you see in today's day and age, let me tell you one real problem. The problem is, for example, the media and entertainment industry in India has not been recognized as an industry. That's the absolute, basic necessity. Once that happens, then there'll be a lot of government support for it, and then things can really improve, and that will also show on easing creativity, because this is the most internationally sort of acclaimed industry. India worldwide is known for its media and entertainment industry, and I think professionalism is coming in slowly but surely. And now we've I mean, interestingly, it is being introduced even in law colleges. We've been involved in getting that entertainment law introduced as a subject for law. So I think it's definitely looking up, no question.
Yeah, it's become a niche area. Like I did Coffee with Laveen Hirani. He was earlier apna with one of the law firms. Now he started his own firm.
Yes.
So after the Coffee, career boost. Then I did with Ranjana Adhikari, he's senior partner at SAM,
Right.
handling this TMT, OTT. So yes, yeah, new opportunities coming up with OTT, artists, directors, so many things, and she was talking so many things. So yes, this is a niche area. Entertainment law is one of the things to look forward. Like sports is also picking up in India.
In fact, along with media and entertainment, the interesting thing is it's a mix. You have to know civil law, you have to know a bit of criminal law,
Yeah.
and also niche and new subjects like sports law, art law. They're all combining itself. So
Yes.
and for a youngster today, and it's very funky. So a youngster will feel happy taking it up.
No, but Laveen sir, bhai, it's not funky. Don't get involved and go to ye hai ke bhai, have drinks with your clients. Otherwise, it will next morning it will be all kya ho jayega. Nothing will come to know.
I must tell you another thing. Internationally, a media entertainment lawyer is probably the best paid in the
Yes.
legal profession. So it's
Yeah.
very, very interesting. So I think we have a long way to go to reach that stage, but
Yes.
I think that's the future.
Yes. We are sports law, entertainment, media, gaming.
Yes.
Yeah, these are the niche areas where through Coffee will say by, and we'll come to know from a senior person, Jamshed, 30 years of experience, a lot of insights we'll be sharing. So now let's go to your next question. With a postgraduate in labor law, do you think India's current labor codes adequately present today's gig economy and creative professionals?
So I think there also, so it's very interesting. After I actually finished my graduation in law, I did take up labor and service law as a specialty. And I mean, we had 137 labor legislations at that time. So actually to go through all that was quite a task. Uh, yes, but you see, gig workers and contract workers, you see, the law has to move with the times. There is a serious conflict between the fact that you have uh, you know contract labor or hire and fire vis-a-vis the old traditional methods, where, and once somebody joins a workforce, he continues throughout his life, like for example, some old banks where somebody, people, if they joined at a level, and they retire in just one job. So I think all that has kind of changed, but I think as far as India is concerned, there must be a balance. You have to have a balance between, you have to take care of your workforce. There are so many different now methods today, after the COVID and pandemic, and the work from home, and so many other new issues in labor law, which was never known earlier. I mean, earlier, if you worked from home, they looked down upon you. Now it's acceptable. So I think these things must be brought in, and the labor codes, the arch change. You have to test it out. Also, you have to see how the workforce accepts it, and and the other thing, I think, although we have labor courts and labor tribunals, unfortunately, for the employees, there is no other option but to go to a civil court. And I think that's also something that needs to change.
Wow, beautiful. So let's go to your uh, next role, being involved in public interest and social causes. What case or cause has left the deepest impact on you?
That's actually quite a tough question. Let me start by saying, our first public interest litigation was actually, very interestingly, we were on the side of the respondents. It was actually for the BEST, the transport agency, and the question was, that they said that in those days, we had a lot of air pollution being caused by taxis and rickshaws, some taxis were using old kerosene engines, which were prohibited actually, and that was really very bad. So a group from Chembur in Bombay had filed that petition, and what was very interesting is, in that matter, all my chemistry and physics sort of all came back, because we had to, what was NOx, CO2, and all these issues came into the fore. And I dare say, in fact, we were able to ensure that in a phased manner, the BEST phased out all its diesel buses. They brought in CNG. CNG was actually being, thrown or spewed as a waste product. They utilized that. It was very expensive. You had to import Italian machinery first. Now, of course, it's not only CNG, but now they've moved to electricity. So you've seen a huge change in our public transport system and on clean. So that was one which. But I think the one case that has given me the most satisfaction was a case of a German boy who was looking out for his mother. And this matter, he lost in the Bombay High Court. We had appeared for him along with certain senior lawyers in the Supreme Court. It took, several years, but at the end of the day, he actually found his mother. And I think that was, when you think about it, the joy that he must have got was absolutely amazing. So I probably rate that as the best.
Wow. So, continuing conversation, you have worked at the intersection of law and disability advocacy through ADAPT. What legal reforms do you believe are most urgently needed for inclusivity?
I think as far as persons with disabilities is concerned, earlier you had an act of 1995 that was drawn up, because India went and signed the Beijing Convention in 95. So, you know, and you only had about, a maximum of 7 disabilities. So what we had to do was we had to go to court and at every stage to actually ensure, like right from a boy who suffered from a cleft lip to learning disabilities like dyslexia, dysgraphia, etc., we had to go to court. And it was it was quite ridiculous. We actually, for example, the state of Goa, we ensured that they framed a policy for persons with disabilities for their state. Then we use that policy even for, I mean, can I, if the viewers will be shocked. The Gothic structure, the building, the Bombay High Court did not even have a ramp or a railing or a
Yes,
toilet block, which
I
for a person with disabilities. We had to, fight and get it done. And then, of course, now things have changed quite a lot. I think people are becoming much more aware. I think the sector is becoming much more proactive, which is very good. But I think there one unique concept. That concept is called universal design, where you doesn't matter whether you're a person with disability or you're a normal or a regular person. Think about it. The US law on disability says that if you are a pregnant woman is temporarily disabled for that period of time.
Yeah.
So I think all that put together, I think, you know, uh, we must, and people today, I mean, must look at them with compassion and ensure that they, because at the end of the day, they are citizens like you and me, and they must be brought into the mainstream.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. So, as a member of multiple business chambers across Canada, UK, India, how do you use cross-border? How do you see cross-border legal relationships changing over the years?
So I think it's very very important. We do initially what used to happen, and in a strange sense still is prevalent. I always felt that why should a lawyer be bound by the geography in which he or she is sort of practices. Yes, I understand that there are rules, regulations, etc., that are binding your country, etc. That's great. But what I've also found is, because of years of travel and work with these various chambers that you mentioned, that there is a lot of commonality. I mean, for example, you are doing a particular case in India, you may actually find that the solution might lie with a lawyer who has done a similar case in Venezuela or in Australia. I mean, why? And in today's day of technology, I think that's the best thing possible. So you're a global village. You're just exchanging information. You should be able to, go to court, show a foreign precedent, and vice versa. There are so many countries, even Canada, for example, has used Indian precedents. For example, when we brought live streaming and legal transcripts into the Supreme Court, and now hopefully through for all courts, we use Canadian precedents to show the court how it was done. So I think that's the way forward, and I think there is a lot of commonality. Law students, the syllabuses, except for personal laws, are very very similar, and I think it's a great time for for the legal profession actually.
Wow. So, continuing conversation, you brought the topic of technology. Uh, so, I'll have two, three questions related in that area. Uh, how is technology and AI impacting legal professionals according to you?
So AI and technology, well, is definitely impacting the legal profession. Uh, I firmly believe that AI and tech should be used as a tool to assist and never to hinder. I think that's the first aspect of the matter. Second is, uh, you must also ensure that the thinking professional, whether he's a lawyer or a client or a judge, he should be able to use his gray matter as well. He can use bring all that together in a lot of sort of common and sort of routine and mundane sort of issues can be resolved very happily through AI. And I mean, like for example, transcription. I mean, we did an experiment with a free app, and we found that it was 80 to 85% accurate. Now,
Yeah.
what prevents us to use transcripts for all, for whether it's arbitration or going to the police station? At least and you'll ensure that whatever is said in court or there gets recorded. You'll be absolutely amazed to know that I found a transcript in a judgment of the Bombay High Court dated 1908. And it was amazing because in those days there was the word computer, electronic was never even thought of. So what did they do? They actually used a stenographer they used to change them every half an hour for accuracy. The legislature has done it in India. So it's very interesting how things get recorded, through the ages. That's another. I think somebody should do a PhD on that subject.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, that was for the legal professional. Now, technology is being adopted by the courts, Supreme Court, the High Court, and your recent comment in the newspaper, cooperative courts.
Yes.
So, what new technologies will be adopting from according to you in your experience in India, especially?
Sure. I think a lot. For example, if you can manage your case, as I mean, for example, from the lawyer's perspective, if you can manage your caseload better using technology, I think that will be a huge plus. I think that a lot of times, because of paperwork, and finding, for example, just see, if something needs to be transferred from the lowest court to the Supreme Court, the paper file will take years and ages, and they'll say it's got lost or it's got mutilated or something. Here, within 5 minutes, it can be transferred seamlessly. I think that is a huge place where technology can be used. Doesn't matter what has happened in the past, utilize it now, and utilize it in a proper and a systematic manner. I think that is where it will be used the most.
Wow, beautiful. So, Jamshed, you have represented clients before both the Bombay High Court, the Supreme Court of India. How does the strategy shift between when you're going to High Court or you're going to Supreme Court? How do you decide that?
That's the beauty of our profession. I think every matter is different. The strategy varies, case to case. Of course, uh, in the High Court, you have the chance to sort of rely upon facts. Supreme Court is the final court, so the admission of the case is of great value. And then, of course, whenever the final hearing comes, and then it becomes a precedent not only for your matter but for the entire country. So when you're in the Supreme Court, you have to always keep that in mind, that this is going to be used, and sometimes not only in India, even internationally. But I mean, I would say the standards these days, even in the high courts, are very, very good, and we've had excellent judges, because the judges from the high court do go to the Supreme Court anyway. And It's been so strategically, yes, the way you argue would differ a little bit, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. And of course, English is still the language of the High Court and Supreme Court.
Yeah. So, Jamshed, what's one piece of legal advice you find yourself repeating to clients more than anything else?
I think the biggest is that please be true not only to yourself, but please disclose the good, the bad, and the ugly to your lawyer. That is, I think, very, very important, because quite often, sometimes it does happen that the lawyer gets an equal shock when he finds out that this is something that the client hasn't disclosed, and that becomes very embarrassing
Yeah.
in court. So, as when you would go to a doctor, you would give him a full history. I think this is also extremely important, that you disclose everything. And because there is privilege, remember that is whatever you say to your lawyer remains confidential. And the Indian Advocates Act has privilege inbuilt, which is one of the most unique features of our act. Other you know countries say that you have to sign an NDA or an NDC with the lawyer. We don't. So I think that's very good.
Wow. So, Jamshed, how has the legal philosophy evolved over your 3 decades of experience in litigation and advisory work?
You mean my philosophy, or?
Whatever you want to say.
uh, no, I think over a period of time. So when you start as a junior lawyer, there is a clear sort of case of you have the initial stage of you've come out of law school, you're learning. And well, actually there is no learning. You're learning all the time. Even today we are learning, and I think even somebody who's 80 and there's a lawyer who's 90 and he still comes to court, I'm sure he's also learning. So it's amazing. We continuously learn. But I think what happens is you become uh, much more confident, number one. The other interesting, if I may add, apart from legal philosophy, one thing I've sort of learned to do, which I never used to do earlier, was the ability to read very fast and quickly. So I think that is something that I have learned over a period of time. You also learn how to go straight to the point, and sort of distinguish the grain from the chaff when somebody comes. So I think the ability to actually learn and sort of uh, decipher from what your client who comes to you and what he says, and thereafter which course of action to take, I think that process has become much quicker now over the 3 decades.
Wow. Okay. Let's come to your role as a legal connector. You have founded a global network of lawyers through the International Legal Alliance. What inspired you to build this platform and how does it function?
Yes. So, because I was very fortunate, I was able, they invited me, to the bar in Canada. I became an associate member of the Canadian Bar 2010-11, and I started traveling, make several trips there. What I realized was that there was a huge requirement of lawyers to be able to connect among themselves first. Otherwise, every time you would connect with another lawyer, only on the instance of a client, say he wanted to get in touch with a lawyer within India, outside of India, and quite often it used to be quite difficult. And even this would come up at a stage where, because time is quite often the essence in a case. So what we decided to do was, we wrote to lawyers and law firms across the world, saying that we and India has also grown, economically and otherwise. We said, why don't we set up a network of lawyers on what we call a best friend relationship? And, that'll help bring in camaraderie between lawyers, and we'll be able to, share information and work together and respect their independence as well. So, and what I said is the best way of doing this is virtually. So we set up a global virtual network of lawyers, and next year, God willing, we would have completed a decade, and
Wow,
we've done a lot of interesting work.
beautiful. Yes, I know. So now, uh, recently in the news, foreign law firms can come to India, and there have been cases like arrangements of legal with Denton, now Indus Law with CMS. So, what are your views? Okay, now Indian law firms are going for arrangements with foreign law firms, and foreign law firms are coming to India.
So I think, if I may say so, uh, I think the system that we have been able to put up, uh, it has not only become, I mean, the ILA, not only practical but very economical as well. I mean, we are dealing with lawyers and law firms. We can get in touch with them within 5 to 10 minutes across the world without a problem, and uh, that has sort of obviated the need for them to come and invest in India, be a part of, because they know that they have their partners here already. And the interesting bit is that there's nothing to prevent, for example, an Indian lawyer assisting a lawyer in another country sitting in India. And today, with technology, that's absolutely possible and feasible. I mean, you don't even have to travel to that country. You exchange information, you discuss things. Most of the work happens, virtually. So there is no difficulty at all. If they want to become a part of the, uh, Indian legal system, then they're sort of most welcome to. The only difficulty that I see is twofold. One is that the amount of sort of rules and regulations that are being imposed on such law firms coming into India. Uh, for example, if you fly in and fly out, they want to regulate that as well. The other aspect is the fact that you have to be from a country that allows reciprocity. Now, currently, only the UK and Singapore permits reciprocity. So I think these things should and must be thought of first. They should get reciprocal arrangements with several countries. There are 180 countries in the world. So they should try and get that first. And therefore, Indian lawyers must also be then treated with the same respect in these territories. So I think that's the issue. But I don't see this as an issue at all. And of course, they've been sort of restricted to in the kind of work that they can or cannot do. But I mean, worldwide, it is a phenomena. Or they can come, study the law, and qualify, and then be a part of our system. So there's some amazing case law just now of a Korean gentleman who's done that.
Ah,
So that's fine.
that's interesting. So, Jamshed, you have worked globally with different lawyers, different cultures. So, what are your experience in अपना ये working with different lawyers and their culture, and you coming from India? So, was there any communication, cultural hindrance coming, and how did you navigate?
Uh, I think if you're dealing with a Commonwealth country or wherever, see, English has been a major plus. The fact that we think in English is helps us a lot. I've dealt with from King's Counsel to people across the world, to arbitrators and everyone. I think, they now there is a lot of respect for India and Indian
Yes.
jurisprudence and things like that. And the other good thing is, because our brothers and sisters have been sort of living in those countries and have made a mark. I think that has also helped. Yes, they've started not only respecting us, but the fact that India has now become such a market for them.
Yeah.
I think that has also changed a lot of things. And I mean, very honestly, I have not had any problems with international lawyers so far, at least in my. If I do, I'll let you know.
Sure, we'll have another conversation. Okay. So now, as in part of different chambers, and we also part of the IBG, and we get apna ye there are trade desk at consulates. Uh, so what is the experience? How this trade desk are facilitating for businesses to be established in India and vice versa, where Indian business goes abroad. So in your experience, how is ILA helping them?
Oh, I think a network like ILA, with the amount of sort of combined knowledge that we have, I think the resources are now available. The resources are available at a place which can be sort of uh, you know uh, reached out in a very short period of time. See, the difficulty initially in setting all this up is, how do you ensure that you have a group of verified lawyers across the world? We actually got all our members verified through a risk management global consultancy, just to ensure that everybody was fine. Because today, if you use the sort of a Google search or the internet, you may have a situation where you have a particular lawyer or he may not even be qualified as a lawyer, but he may be posting it. Of course, in India, you're not allowed to advertise, but they still post it, and then you get in touch with somebody, and then it creates all sorts of complications. Here, this is sort of verified and available. Yes, we can play a huge role, because quite often than not, the lawyer will also be able to assist you. For example, if somebody wants to start a business in a particular area, we are able to reach out to our colleagues, ask them the risks. In fact, we are also doing a very interesting an ILA sort of global uh, you know discussion in initially within ILA itself, where we train and advise our own lawyers, because you may be sitting in India, may not know the laws of Africa. So we have to sort of consistently learn what are happening in different segments. Also, we may not be professional. I mean, the sort of bound by those laws, etc. But you have to know what is going on, and then we work in consultation with those lawyers. So it's a very happy teamwork. And yes, that's why chambers of commerce do reach out to us more often than not, to sort of to make the connects, because we even bring and we have brought a couple of chambers of commerce together in across the world, in and that has helped trade and commerce.
Wow, beautiful. So, Jamshed, how do you mentor young lawyers who come to you?
I think the the whole mentorship system has changed just very recently. I was involved, apart from ILA, to start for our community a global, a sort of a Zoroastrian alliance of lawyers for our community. There
Beautiful.
are they're pretty much across the world. In the days gone by, you had the old law firms, you had individuals who would take you up and mentor you. I mean, I was fortunate that I was mentored by a senior solicitor of a particular law firm, and then you went out. Now, in today's day and age, the whole system is changed. For example, I don't meet my junior colleague physically maybe once or twice in a year, because we do all our work virtually. So the whole system has changed, and therefore you have to adapt to it. And I think that's the way forward. It is possible to mentor a student from a smaller town and city also, and give them sort of assignments to do, let them research is the key. I was told that by my senior, and I always tell them that uh, you know if you know your research well, you can win or case based on one case law. So you should be very sort of sharp for that, and you should enjoy reading. That's the other advice tip for a young lawyer.
Beautiful. So let's go to the next round and understand Jamshed as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
So my I think I don't want to go too far back. My great grandfather, he was you know the they were all from Porbandar in Gujarat. My father was born in London because my grandfather had gone there to study law. He became a barrister. Then he came back to India and he joined the Indian Air Force, and he was on the judicial side, the Judge Advocate General's office, and uh, had done a lot of work. So as a result, my father spent most of his time, studying in various places. So my father, of course, he finished his PhD in chemistry, and then he joined the Bhabha Atomic Research Center. He retired from there as a senior scientist, and he was also a fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences. He was an expert with the UN. So we were very fortunate. We, as children, we spent a couple of years in Vienna, Austria. So I learned German. That was also a great exposure, because in those days, to be able to travel internationally and see at a formative stage helped at least me a lot. And then, of course, coming back here, I had forgotten all my Hindi, and I actually, must have been one of the few students that actually took tuitions in the subject. But that is fine. And then, of course, we continued to we continued to study, and we finished all our work here in and sort of our education in Mumbai, and things like that. As far as my family, immediate family is concerned, uh, my wife, she volunteers with the Sadhana school and son is actually uh, he's teaching French in a school uh, uh, close by to where we stay. My daughter is studying for a master's in psychology, and we are very fortunate. We have our parents living in the same building, so we spend a lot of time taking care of them.
Beautiful. So, Jamshed, you have lived, visited different cities in the world. Which city is favorite and why?
Uh, I actually I quite like Mumbai. Mumbai is very interesting. It is maybe because we are so used to it, and it has so many different dynamics. When it comes to city which is beautiful, I definitely think Vancouver will, Canada, British Columbia. It's very very scenic in its you know place. I think each city has its own. I mean, contrary to a lot of things. I mean, I love the some pristine beaches. I mean, even in Goa. So, it just depends where you want to stay.
Wow. So, what part of your Parsi heritage do you cherish the most?
I think, I mean, I don't want to sound cliched, but this the fact that you are constantly, uh, from the time you get up in the morning to your the fact that you have, uh, I will say it in the old Persian script, and then the humata hukta havarash, that is the good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. I think that has always been uppermost in whatever you do and say, and that has been sort of interestingly ingrained by our elders. I mean, we speak about this constantly to our children as well, and I think that's something that I definitely cherish.
Wow. So, what's one family tradition you never skip no matter how busy life gets?
I think uh, it is wishing at birthdays. I think that's always been, we've always tried to sort of come together and have a meal, whether it's my parents, my brothers, or our wives or mother-in-law, or anybody. Whenever there is a birthday, that's you know always been a family tradition that we've always come together.
Wow. So, what's one childhood memory that still makes you laugh?
Wow. I think childhood memory that always makes me laugh is the fact that once we from school we had all missed our school bus, and I'll never forget the way we ran and caught the BEST bus, only to realize that between the two or three schoolmates, we were actually falling 5 or 10 paisa short. And
Oh,
it was only because of a very kind conductor that he said one person, he said, when we insisted, we said no, either all three of us will get off or you allow us to continue. And then he sort of he laughed and he says, no, it's fine, you can. So it's amazing. It just shows that even
hmm.
the conductors were very kind and good people.
Yes. So, is there a book or movie or song that has impacted you?
Well, there is a very interesting book called The Laws of the Spirit World,
Ah, yeah.
by it was written by this lady, based on it, the fact that she had lost both her sons in
Yes.
a
Yeah.
car accident,
Yeah.
and it's a wonderful book. It's brought you know that was one of the first books that I had actually read, and uh, uh, now, of course, our dear friend and choreographer Shamak Davar, he had promoted this
Yeah.
across the world. So I read a lot. Then apart from that, we have the uh, spiritual person called Meher Baba. I've read a lot of his books as well,
Wow.
including discourses and so many others. And these are all
Oh,
they've made a lot of difference
so have you
in our
been to
life.
Mehrabad?
Yes, I've been several times.
Me too. It's another
Wonderful.
topic. We'll take it up. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so Jamshed, if you had 1 week away from work, what would you do and why?
Uh, one uh, I would either go to Goa or to Mahabaleshwar Dina Hotel. That's an amazing place. I mean, I really, whenever we've been there, it's been so relaxing, and so that's as far as India is concerned. Outside, yeah, maybe go and stay. In not in Vancouver proper, but maybe outside, or just do nothing.
Wow. So you've been involved in various social organizations. So we also connected same in Lionism. How did your journey in Lionism start, and how has it been?
So I have to thank our friend Lion Manik Dastur for this. He was the president of Lions Club of Bhaikala. He actually had I was a Rotarian for the longest time, and I had just left, and because I got very busy with work, and he was the one who actually invited me to his club, and I sort of so initially I was what is called an outstanding lion because I hardly used to attend, but then as time went on, and I became a Melvin Jones fellow myself, and we've sort of tried to give back because it's a wonderful service organization, and they do so much selflessly that and it's truly one of the finest international organizations that are.
Yeah. So my last two questions are reflective. What legacy would you like to leave behind?
I think I think ILA is a legacy. It's interesting. It's something that I would again 10 years ago would never have thought of. I don't know 10 years thereafter where it is going. So it's a combination of both. It's also helped me change the way in which I work. So I think that's a great method that you can be flexible, you can have time off, but you can be busy as well. So I think that's very good. And of course, over a period of time with the sort of the public interest litigation and things like that, I think we've I would be happy to say we have made a difference to people's lives, and that's as a lawyer, that's something you must keep always in your mind.
Beautiful. My last one is a googly one. Describe Jamshed in one line.
Very difficult, but but I will. I think compassionate, uh, uh, you know, loves music. Uh, I can be an extremely good, friend, uh, and I think, although my kids may not agree with me, but I think I am quite family oriented.
Wow. So let's put you in the hot seat and the rapid fire round. Your go-to comfort food:
McDonald's
Zoroastrian Dansak or Mumbai Vada Pav?
or Dhansak any day.
I know my favorite too. Your favorite color?
Blue.
Best piece of advice received?
Uh, know when to shut up in court.
Jamshed Mistry in a hashtag.
Uh, friendly.
Wow. Your legal journey in one line:
Amazing. One word actually.
black robes or black tie event?
We wear black robes all the time, so black tie event.
Wow. Beach retreat or mountain getaway?
I think mountain getaway.
Tea or coffee to recharge?
Definitely coffee.
So you're the coffee show. And here's your book. And it has been autographed. So, friends, it was a lovely conversation having with a fellow lion, Lion Jamshed Mistry. And we too, what do you say, followers of Meher Baba. And wonderful to meet a Meher Baba of a follower. So, it's always ये क्या बोलते हैं, I'm getting emotional because I'll talk to you later, and it's an emotional moment of being a Meher Baba follower, because Meher Baba is all about, talks about Sufism, talk about ये inclusivity. So we'll have another conversation on that. So friends, if you want to be ये a coffee speaker, visit our website, the Emerging New Forum, or LinkedIn page, or connect with our 500 coffee speakers. They will put in a word and invite you to have coffee conversation wherever you are in the world. So that happens on Zoom, or if you're in Mumbai based, or you can come to Mumbai. So you can have this in-person coffee shoots. So subscribe to the Coffee Conversation YouTube channel and get inspired. We keep inviting, and surprisingly, we are having a panel discussion on Father's Day. So all those fathers out there, watch this episode, because all those fathers uh, are being missed out, because we celebrate Women's Day, we celebrate Mother's Day, but no one celebrates Father's Day. So this is the first year the Coffee Corner Show is celebrating Father's Day, and there are 4 fathers who would be sharing their journey, and this episode will be uh, live before the Father's Day. So stay safe. We meet with another coffee speaker on Monday and continue the conversation over a cup of coffee. Thank you.